Ly Tu Diep. Hello everyone, wishing you all good health and peace in life. Abandoned by her parents at a young age, Ly Tu Diep carried wounds the world could not see. Yet, beneath the pain was an unshakable determination, the will to rewrite her life story. And beside her now stood CEO Jamse, a man who believed in her dreams as if they were his own. When Jamse bought a piece of land to build a new house for Tu Diep, it wasn't just an act of generosity, it was a symbol of a fresh beginning, a safe place where she could finally belong. But not everyone welcomed this change. Her ex-husband's reaction stirred old shadows, threatening to pull her back into the past she was trying so hard to escape. Would this new chapter be one of peace and love, or would the ghosts of yesterday find a way to return? From the moment she was a child, Ly Tu Diep had learned what loneliness tasted like. Her parents had left her without a backward glance, and the small countryside home she grew up in was built on her own resilience. She learned to work the fields, to sell vegetables in the market, and to hide her tears when the nights became too quiet. But deep inside, she carried an unshakable dream. One day, she would rewrite her life story, not as a girl who was abandoned, but as a woman who stood on her own ground. Jamse, a man who had built his name as a powerful CEO, entered her life like the first rays of sunlight after a long storm. He was known for his business acumen, his sharp mind, and his calm authority, but with Diep, his tone softened. He saw in her not just beauty, but a strength that mirrored his own struggles. One evening, as they sat together under the fading sunset, Jamse made a quiet promise. He would buy a piece of land and build a home for her, a place that would be hers, unshaken by the storms of the past. Within weeks, Jamse had found the perfect land. It was nestled between green hills and close enough to the village for Diep to still visit the market she loved. He personally oversaw the paperwork, negotiated with the landowner, and ordered the finest wood and materials for the house. The construction site quickly came alive with the sound of saws cutting beams, men carrying bricks, and Jamse giving calm but firm instructions. Diep often visited, bringing fruit and water for the workers, her heart swelling with gratitude as she watched the dream take shape. But news traveled quickly, even to the man she wished never to see again. Her ex-husband, who had once left her with nothing but debts and a shattered heart, heard of Jamse's plans. His reaction was a storm of anger and jealousy. To him, Diep's new life was a bitter reminder of what he had lost, and of the woman he had underestimated. He began asking questions in the village, muttering to acquaintances about Jamse's wealth, and hinting that she didn't deserve such fortune. Diep, however, refused to be shaken. She had lived through harsher winters than this. When Jamse noticed her quiet worry, he simply took her hand and said, "We are building this together, Diep. This is your home. No one can take that from you." His words became the foundation even stronger than the pillars of the house. Day by day, the structure rose, wooden frames became walls, the roof took shape, and the air began to carry the scent of fresh timber and cement. Diep stood there one afternoon, sunlight catching the simple necklace Jamse had given her, and realized something profound. She was no longer just surviving, she was creating. Her ex-husband's whispers eventually faded into the background, powerless against the reality she had chosen. And when the house was finally finished, with wide windows opening to the morning light, and a sturdy gate closing out the shadows of the past, Diep stepped inside with Jamse by her side. For the first time in her life, she didn't just have a place to live. She had a place that belonged to her, and a man who believed in her enough to build it. The girl who had once been abandoned had rewritten her story, and this time, she was the author. But life, as Diep knew too well, was never without its tests. The completion of the house marked not an ending, but the beginning of new challenges. James's construction business was juggling multiple projects, and while the house for Diep was a personal priority, his company faced delays, shortages of quality materials, and an unexpected increase in costs. One warm afternoon, as the scent of sawdust drifted through the air, James received a call that made his expression tighten. A supplier had failed to deliver the promised timber, and without it, several projects, including Diep's house, would be delayed. Diep noticed the tension in his shoulders when he returned to the site. "What happened?" she asked, offering him a bottle of cool water. James hesitated before answering. "There are people in the industry who would rather see me fail. They've started interfering with my supply lines." Diep's heart clenched. She knew business could be ruthless, but she had never imagined someone would go to such lengths to sabotage James. She wanted to help, but James only smiled faintly, as though trying to protect her from the weight of his troubles. That evening, as the sky turned a deep indigo, Diep sat on the porch of her half-finished home, looking out at the hills. She remembered the countless times she had been forced to face hardship alone. But this time, she was not alone, and she would not stand by while James fought in silence. The very next morning, she went to the village to speak with people she trusted. Old neighbors, traders, and friends who owed her small favors came forward, offering to help source local materials. Word spread quickly, and within days, shipments of wood, cement, and stone began to arrive, not as grand as James's original plans, but enough to keep the work moving. When James returned to the site and saw the workers unloading the supplies, he looked at her in surprise. "Diep, you did this." She smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You taught me that this is our home. That means I fight for it too." Something in James's eyes shifted that day, an unspoken recognition that she was not just the woman he loved, but his partner in every sense. But in the shadows, her ex-husband was far from giving up. He had learned that James had invested heavily in multiple projects, and he saw an opportunity. He began spreading rumors among James's clients, warning them that the CEO's company was on the brink of collapse. The whispers reached James eventually, and with them came a sense of urgency. "If he keeps this up," James told her one night, "we could lose more than just contracts. We could lose the company itself." Diep placed her hand on his. "Then we fight twice as hard. We've both lost everything before. We know how to rebuild. This time, we're doing it together." And so, side by side, they braced themselves for the storm. The foundation of their home was solid, but the foundation of their future, that would be tested in ways neither could yet imagine. The day the confrontation happened, the sky was heavy with low clouds, and the air smelled like rain. James was at the site, standing with the foreman to review the new shipment of materials. When a black car pulled up on the dirt road, the engine stopped, and from it stepped a man James had never met, but instantly recognized from Diep's guarded descriptions. Her ex-husband. He walked with the smug confidence of someone who believed he still had power over her. His eyes swept over the half-built house, then locked on James with a thin smile. "So," the man said, his voice dripping with mockery, "this is the palace you're building for her." James's gaze didn't waver. "It's her home, and it's none of your concern." "Oh, but it is," the man replied, stepping closer. "You see, people like me, we have long memories. She walked away from me, and now she's living a life she doesn't deserve. And you think you can just swoop in and save her? Do you even know who you're dealing with in this business?" The workers had paused, watching from a distance, the tension in the air as thick as the storm clouds above. James took a slow step forward until they stood only a few feet apart. "I know exactly who I'm dealing with, a man who lost something valuable and can't accept it. But I'm not here to argue. Whatever you think you're going to accomplish, it won't work. This house will be finished, and she will live here. You can either stay out of the way, or you can try to stop me and regret it." A flicker of anger passed over the man's face, but he masked it with a smirk. "We'll see." He turned and walked back to his car, leaving the air heavy with unspoken threats. When James told Diep what had happened, she went pale for a moment, then straightened her shoulders. "I knew you wouldn't let go easily. But James, I'm not afraid anymore. I trust you, and I trust us." Her words anchored him. That night, as the first rain began to fall, James stood at the window of his office, watching the lights of the construction site flicker in the distance. He knew the fight ahead would not just be about building a house. It would be about defending everything they were creating: their home, their love, and their future. And if her ex-husband thought he could destroy that, he was about to learn that some foundations once set could never be broken. Lesson from the story: life will often test us in ways we cannot predict. For Ly Tu Diep, being abandoned by her parents and betrayed by her ex-husband could have been reasons to close her heart forever. But instead, she chose to keep moving forward, to trust again, and to fight for a future she believed she deserved. Her journey with James teaches us that love is not just about romance, it is about partnership. A strong relationship is built when two people face struggles side by side, refusing to let fear or the shadows of the past dictate their future. The story also reminds us that true security is not found in wealth or possessions, but in having someone who will stand with you when everything is at risk. Even in the face of jealousy, sabotage, and doubt, Diep and James built not only a home, but a foundation of trust that no outsider could destroy. And perhaps the greatest lesson is this: you are not defined by what was taken from you, but by what you choose to build after the loss. In the face of betrayal, resentment, and the whispers of those who doubt us, we have a choice to let those voices define our path or to rise above them. Diep's strength came not from denying her pain, but from refusing to be ruled by it. Her resilience shows that healing is not a quiet surrender. It is an active decision to keep building, to keep loving, and to protect what matters, even when the world tries to tear it down. James's unwavering support reinforces the truth that when love is real, it does not crumble under pressure, it grows stronger. Every obstacle they faced, delayed shipments, false rumors, open confrontation, became a brick in the wall of their shared future. Together, they proved that a foundation built on trust, loyalty, and shared dreams can withstand even the fiercest storms. So, the lesson is simple but profound. When life tries to take away your shelter, build one stronger. When people try to write your story for you, take the pen back. And when you find someone who believes in your fight as much as you do, hold on to them and never let go.